Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, we'll start with a 27-20 victory for the Chiefs. It is overshadowed by Patrick Mahomes suffering a high ankle sprain. Like you said, seems that he'll play through.
Yeah, I guess somebody said that. Romo said during the Bengals-Bills game that he's not sure if Mahomes will be able to play on it. I mean, it's pretty rare when a guy finishes a game that he doesn't play the next week. Now, Jalen Hurts didn't, but that was regular season. Like, this is AFC Championship game. I would imagine he'll be out there. Very, very impressed by him to come back, play well. I just even loved how much he wanted to stay in the game and how frustrated he was that they wouldn't let him stay in the game, that he had to go get the x-ray, which, by the way, is the right move. And Andy Reid didn't, Jack, this is like before your time, but didn't Donovan McNabb once play the rest of a game with like a fractured leg, or like it was like a high ankle sprain, but ended up being, it was fractured because he was out for like 4 weeks after that. But he stayed in that Arizona Cardinals game like 2002, maybe?
The only one I remember was T.O. in the Super Bowl with like a broken leg or whatever he had. I mean, I think I remember a similar story about McNabb, but not to the exact recollection.
Yeah, I think McNabb like broke his ankle, but stayed in the game against the Cardinals. But then they figured out it was broken. He missed 4 weeks because it was like A.J. Feely started for the Eagles against us when I was with the Cowboys in 2002. At any rate, I love that Mahomes was so angry and wanted to stay in the game so badly. I love that about him. And I love that Andy Reid was like, no, get it x-rayed. Like, we got to know what we're dealing with here. So I like both those. Travis Kelce had an incredible game. But what are the Jags doing on defense? Like, if you are playing against the Chiefs, that is unbelievable to me that you would allow Travis Kelce to catch 14 balls on 17 targets and have 2 touchdowns. Now, maybe you could say, they only scored 27 points. I guess. I don't know. Mahomes was hurt for some of the game, couldn't do his normal stuff. But you let Kelce have 2 touchdowns? I go to my experience with New England. Belichick would bracket that guy in the red zone, meaning like almost like it's a punt. Like 2 guys at the line of scrimmage, totally take him away and make one of the other guys beat him. That was surprising by the Jags. Very surprising. It's interesting that, final score is 27-20. On some level, Henny's 98-yard drive, the difference in the game. Obviously, they had a huge run by Pacheco on that drive. But still, Henny throws a touchdown pass. I am thrilled for him, man. I mean, that's his first playoff touchdown pass. That's the second time in the last 3 years that he's been called upon in a playoff game and he's delivered. It's, he doesn't play that much. He hasn't played that much in a while. I'm just so happy for him, and such a great lesson in life for being ready, because you never know when you're going to be called upon. He might be called upon again in the AFC Championship. We'll see. I got to be honest with you. I tweeted this at Ross Tucker NFL. I love the fight of the Jags in this game. I love that they kept coming. I like that they had that touchdown drive to make it a field goal game. Trevor Lawrence running and like knocking into the defender and getting the first down. Trevor Lawrence showed me something in this game in terms of his guts and his will to win. And I would say the same for the Jags. I thought, even though they lost, I thought this game was a step forward for the Jaguars moving forward. This is different than beating the Titans at home. This is different than, coming back against the Chargers, right? This is on the road at Kansas City, and the Jaguars just kept coming. And who knows what would have happened if Agnew doesn't fumble at the 5-yard line. I mean, that was a killer, right? They're down 10 or whatever. They're about to go in, and Agnew fumbles at the 5-yard line. Then Trevor Lawrence throws that pick. It was incredible one-handed interception by the rookie Jalen Watson for the Chiefs. But like I said, the Jags, man, Hold on a second. By the way, last time I did that, Jack, I can't remember which one of my friends it was, but one of my friends, like an hour from now, texted me, God bless you, or Gesundheit, or whatever. It was funny. It's a good way to know that you're listening. So, but they just kept coming. The Jags just kept coming. I was impressed. I was also impressed by Mahomes' touchdown drive to Valdez-Scantling after the Jags had cut it to 3. Christian Kirk, his drop on the Trevor Lawrence bomb hurt a lot. Frank Clark played his best game in a while, and the Chiefs really needed that.
We'll move forward to the first game that you were at, where in Philadelphia, they decimated the Giants at home in Philadelphia, advancing to the NFC Championship with ease following a 38-7 victory.
Was not expecting that. If you listen to the Even Money podcast, I took the Giants and the 7.5 points, but wow. Eagles came out firing on all cylinders. They had touchdowns on 4 of their first 5 possessions. Certainly felt like the offense was always a step ahead of the defense. 258 to 64 total yards at halftime. Eagles clearly were the much better team up front, both sides of the ball. I mean, they ran for almost 270 yards. Let's just be honest. I mean, the Eagles just have better players than the Giants, and a lot more of them. I thought the Giants should have run the ball more with Saquon, especially early down in distance. They were having some success with that. I don't know why they got away from that so much. Jalen Hurts looked healthy throwing the ball. When he ran, he was even able to draw contact, have a spin move that showed he looked healthy. Really disappointed performance by Daniel Jones. Had a bad interception, had a couple others that probably should have been intercepted, had like an intentional grounding, took sacks he shouldn't have. He missed some throws that he couldn't afford to miss. I mean, he runs out of bounds for a loss of 5 yards. Stuff like that drives me nuts. You run out of bounds for a loss of 5 yards? Throw the ball away, Daniel. I was really disappointed in Daniel Jones in that game. And if you guys know, I guess I'm like a supporter of Daniel Jones, but in that game, I was really disappointed by how he performed. Brian Dable had 2 questionable 4th down decisions. Ultimately, I mean, neither one of them really mattered that much. They went for it on 4th and 8. People are like, oh, it's too early to go for that. I think he knew they might be in for a long day and that they need to try to score a touchdown and try to match the Eagles touchdown for touchdown. The punt late made no sense because then the Eagles just gave the ball to Kenny Gainwell, who, dude, Jack, I don't know if you remember, a couple years ago, it might have been last year when he was a rookie, I said Gainwell reminds me a little bit of Westbrook. Not saying he's going to be him, but that's who he reminds me of. People are all over me. Maybe Ross knows what he's talking about on those preseason games. Finally, how about Hassan Reddick? That guy is a superstar that the Eagles got on the cheap because he wanted to come back to Philly. He's making $15 million a year. He's a $25 million a year player. You know what, Jack? You and everybody else, you should feel like, forget $1 million, feel like $25 million. Peloton. I know a lot of you want to get in better shape. I know a lot of you want to get in the best shape of your life. I know a lot of you made it a New Year's resolution. Peloton. I'm telling you, you know about the bikes. Do you know about yoga, strength training, interval training, boxing, which is an awesome workout? Do you know that you can literally do whatever the time you want for your workout? 10-minute power walk, 30 minutes, whatever. Their instructors are incredible. The music is amazing. If you've been wondering about starting some type of fitness program, you want to do something, Peloton would be my number one recommendation because of all of the variety in terms of different activities, different instructors, different music, and different length of sessions to fit your schedule. Try Peloton risk-free with a 30-day home trial, new members only, not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Move forward to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who shockingly dismantled the Bills on the road in snowy Buffalo, 27-10.
Certainly was not expecting that either. The Bengals, I thought, outcoached the Bills thoroughly. When Josh Allen went back to pass, it was like he was looking around for somebody to get open and then would throw him the ball. When Joe Burrow went back to pass, it's like he knew where he was going to go with the ball before he even got it. Before the ball was even snapped, Joe Burrow knew exactly where he was going to throw the ball. Joe Burrow reminds me of Peyton Manning. He was certainly better than Josh Allen yesterday. Always knew where to go with the ball. I mentioned how I love the snow stuff. The other thing is, with all this talk about the Bengals backups on the offensive line, they played well. Those guys got it done up front. I mean, 3 backups. I thought the Bengals were better up front on both sides of the ball. And the Bills just can't have that. The Bills need to get better up front on both sides of the ball. They just can't have that. Couldn't believe how well the Bengals ran it with Joe Mixon. The Bills wanted to have those 2 deep safeties, so the Bengals just kept running at them, and Joe Mixon was pounding them. There was a lot of Bengals fans there, by the way. I feel bad for all my Bills peeps, but happy for the Bengals fans. The Bills even got a couple of breaks in terms of the calls, I thought. On the Chase touchdown, non-touchdown, the Josh Allen fumble, non-fumble, they got a couple breaks, and they still lost handily, 27-10. Going to be some soul searching for the Bills after that game because they're going in the wrong direction. You lose the AFC Championship game. You lose a close heartbreaker in the divisional game. Now you get blown out at home in the divisional game. Not good.
Dak Prescott throws 2 interceptions while the Cowboys' confusing final drive takes center stage in their 19-12 loss to the 49ers.
You sound like you're reading that, Jack. Are you reading that?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So let me give you so you're on camera, right? Like you're on the show. So it'd be like, the Dak had a couple critical interceptions, Ross, and I don't know what the Cowboys were trying to do at the end of that game as the Niners won 19-12. Like you can say it conversationally, whereas it's so clear you're reading, dude. Like it's so
listen, if I tried, I would take center stage from you, and I don't think either of us want all the attention away from you on your show.
Oh, okay. No, but you're like, as the Cowboys' final drive takes center stage. Listen, those Dak interceptions were probably the difference in the game. Critical mistakes. One gave the Niners 3 points, and it was an interception in his own red area. The other one was an interception in the Niners area. It's a problem. They can't afford him to make those mistakes. I thought Dallas's defense played awesome. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons. Kind of thought Brock Purdy was just okay, but the Niners running game wore down the Cowboys in the second half. They controlled the game with their run in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. Kittle was huge in the game. I have no idea what that last play was about. I have some ideas that maybe I'll share at another date. And I was happy that Maher made those field goals, man. I was happy that Maher was not the difference in the game. That'll be the end, by the way, of today's Ross Tucker Football Podcast.